So let's begin our practice today. And what I'd like to do is I'll invite the chime to sing, and that will be sort of the call to fully arrive and maybe treat this moment right now as a threshold moment. So right now we're at a threshold of what happened this morning, what's about to happen in the future later on today. And we're going to listen to this beautiful chime and step into the present moment. And then we're going to have an intention to set this practice. And then I invite you to open up to a posture of just receiving. Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma, and my name is Julia. I have this wonderful basket of sentiments of metta, loving kindness. And I kind of finger through them and see which one feels right for me today and flip them around and play with them a little bit. And let's choose this one today. This is a little painting I made, and on the back I write sentiments of loving kindness. This one reads, "May you treat your physical body with reverence and awe. May you treat your physical body with reverence and awe." And you know, one of the things that we can all do to access reverence and awe is to simply become more aware with gentleness and kindness the ways that we have abused the body, the ways that we have neglected the body, and the way the body has awesomely continued to heal itself without our consciousness, without our awareness, sometimes without even our presence. The body is quietly, humbly, fiercely behind the scenes working on our behalf. Amazing. That is awe. So this isn't an invitation to guilt trip. Like, oh, all the stories, all the negative stories of I've done this, I've done that, I've been so awful. No, friends. This is an invitation to begin to look at equanimity, and this is a practice of deep looking. And what we're going to bring forward in our practice is something called ego integrity. Ego integrity is the cultivation of equanimity, the ability to hold in one hand, maybe even take this moment to flip one of your hands over and rest it on your thighs with your palm facing up. My left hand is flipped over, palm facing up. So in my left hand, I'm going to hold all the things about me that are unskillful, not particularly noble, opinionated, self-protecting, self-centered, not skillful in the sense of I don't have talent for certain things. The one that comes to mind immediately is engineer. Don't ask me to build anything for you, please. It would be bad karma for the both of us. I'm just not an engineer. There it is. Oh well. I also would make a terrible emergency room physician. I don't do well in a crisis of blood and broken bones. No, thank you. On the other hand, flip it over. And in my right hand, if you have a tangled mess of yarn, if you have knotted fishing line, I am so your person. I'm amazing at untangling knots. I have extraordinary patience for certain things. Give me a pantry of odds and ends, and I will find you and cook you something delicious. And I'll always be your person to indulge in a piece of cake. I love surprises. Both of these things together, and I'm going to bring my hands together for just a moment in prayer pose. Both of these things together make me me. I'm this wonderful mutt of good and bad, light and dark, prickly and smooth, rough and soft, and so are you. And now I'm going to flip my hands over and rest them on my thighs so I can ground myself into this. In spiritual circles, there's a lot of talk and misrepresentation and misinterpretation of getting rid of the ego. There is no such thing. It is a futile exercise. We need our egos. Our egos are what keep us alive. Those aspects of self-protecting and self-centering there are good and bad qualities to that. They have kept us surviving. They have enabled us to not lose hope in really despairing situations. They have initiated intuition that kept us out of really dangerous pickles. Ego integrity is about examining, exploring, and understanding those aspects within us that are immature and those aspects that are mature. Those aspects of us that may have one time kept us safe, but we're now in a different place of life and we don't need that kind of protection anymore. The number one practice of ego integrity is the practice of working with being defensive. And the way to work with this practice, whenever somebody says something to you and you feel yourself getting defensive, and it could be anything, it could be a criticism, it could also be praise. You look so nice today, somebody says. And immediately you feel this rather defensive posture. And what do you say? Really? No, I feel kind of frumpy and, I didn't sleep good. That is being defensive in the negative. You've just rejected somebody's gift of a compliment. When criticism, that is, comes along, what's really difficult is we tend to deflect it as well and reject it, but somehow it gets in, and then we distort it. So somebody says, you weren't very skillful at that. And suddenly, in our immaturity and self-protection, we go, okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. But behind the scenes, behind the veil of that, our immature ego is going to town. And the next thing we know, the one thing that we weren't very good at suddenly becomes everything. Suddenly we're no good at anything. It's a very distorted mind. Thich Nhat Hanh calls it wrong view. Another way we do this is denial. Somebody says, I don't think you were very skillful at that. And we say, really? No, I don't think so. I think, and then we go ahead and give all kinds of excuses. So the practice with this, the complementary practice, the way to bring ease to working with ego integrity and really cultivating ego integrity is the practice of, that's true and not the whole truth. It's true that I am a terrible engineer, and I use the word terrible intentionally. I really am. It's laughable. And the reason why is I'm not patient when it comes to building. I'm impulsive. I skip corners. I'm not methodical. I'm not planned. I just want to jump in and get the thing built. I can't stand reading manuals. I hate choices and tools. Ugh, terrible. It's true. And so what? There's so many other things about me that are also true, and together that makes the truth of me. Somebody says to me, Julia, I think you got a problem. I think you got a problem. Ooh, deep breath. That might be true. And I need some time to think about that. I need some time to be with that. Because I don't want the idea of me having a problem to become distorted, inflated, as if to suggest I'm a problem. Julia, that wasn't very good. Ooh, yikes. Okay, I think that might be true. I'm going to sit with that because I don't want that to become I'm not good. Friends, we're practicing ego integrity and looking at this because we have to interface with a world that is unpracticed and unskillful. So we're going to receive criticism from people who don't know how to deliver the message with sensitivity, with consideration, and with discernment. And in order for us to be protected and guarded, we have to be willing and able to see what's true there so that we can continue to learn and grow. Why are we learning and growing? So that we can be of benefit to all. It requires great humility to stand before someone who is unskillful, telling us something about ourselves that we don't like and we don't want to hear. And that individual may not be deserving of your vulnerability, so you don't have to engage them. But it also doesn't mean that you don't have to take in their message either, or vilify them. You just take the message and say, I'm going to look at that. And that's that. And here's a trick. If you can't let it go, if somebody gives you some criticism, if somebody says something about you and you can't put it down, it's an indicator that it's true and not the whole truth. Because when somebody tells you something, even in a critical way, that is absolutely untrue, Julia, I just can't stand how green you are and all your purpleness. It's just gross. All right. I don't even know what to do with that. It's just so untrue, right? It's so obvious. And I don't even think about it. It's like, okay, wow, what I would say to somebody like that is, I hope you have a better day. Of course, in the back of my mind, my immature ego is going to rip them a new one, but that'll be in the silence of my own mind and heart. And then hopefully I'll come back to my senses and send them metta. May you awaken to a healed you. When things are false, it's obvious. When things are true, we usually can't let them go. And so we have to learn to give ourselves permission and space to allow them to be true. That's true. That's true. Ow, that hurts. I don't like that about myself. And remember what else is true. Remember the truth of you is a beautiful constellation of all kinds of different things. Julia, you just made a mistake. Oh, ouch. Something in my immature ego has convinced itself it needs to be perfect. And so that immature ego is quick to defend itself, quick to make excuses, quick to blame someone else. It wasn't me. It couldn't have been me. I can't make a mistake. The mature ego integrity says, ooh, I made that mistake. Golly. Thank you for bringing that to my awareness. I may need some help repairing that. That's true. That happened. I will repair that. That's it. We have a recurrence and habit energy. The immature ego is quick to go, look at you, you just lost all your time. Is that true? You lost all your time? It's completely nonsensical. What else is going on? What is there to learn from this recurrence? What are the conditions behind it? How can we repair? How can we come back to clarity? That's ego integrity, my friends. And it is a deep, deep practice. And all you have to do is look around and see how many are suffering for the lack of this practice. Please be gentle with yourselves. Please engage humor as much as humanly possible. And find one thing that you cherish about yourself, and may that be the anchor that reminds you of the truth of you. I'm a terrible engineer, and I love surprises. I'm not good in a bloody crisis. I won't leave you, but I'll be panicky and not entirely clear. But as you're healing, I will be unwavering in my presence and support. Find the bothness of you. Return to the wholeness of you. And there, may you find reverence and awe. There it is. That's going to be our dedication of merit, actually. And the reason is because we are shifting the habitual ways we react and interact. And it's awkward provoking. And it is radical. And it creates a lot of tension. And it also creates a lot of ease and healing. So we dedicate this practice of ego integrity as a way of cultivating strength, clarity, and presence. We come together in community to practice because this is an experimental ground where people are committed to looking at it and practicing with it. We make a lot of space for people to slip and fall down and get up again. And the reason why we do this is we're exercising all of these new muscles so that we can go out into the world and be a spiritual presence that is foundational, healing, capable of weathering the storm. And the world needs this, because this action is one of peace and love. Keep practicing, friends, and thank you for bringing your practice here. We are all so inspired by it. We'll see you next time. Namaste.